Hey everyone! From the beginning of the Cortex platform, back in at the end of 2023, when I started building Cortex, I always intended Cortex to be an on-premise application, or as we've started calling it, self-hosted, right? Because on-premise doesn't really mean on-premise anymore. We have things like AWS and Azure, uh, and self-hosted is a better way, in our mind, a better way of describing what it really is. You get to host Cortex for your organization. And that really made sense because Cortex was an archive tool. That's all it was. And initially, it was specifically an archive tool for farewell data. We really wanted you to have complete control over your data, complete control over access to your data. And Cortex was a self-hosted application that was effectively a perpetual license. Um, it, it's it's not exactly a perpetual license because it's kind of somewhere in the middle between perpetual and subscription because update, you can upgrade to newer versions. You don't just get a license to one specific version. But if you don't pay for the extended support, you can only upgrade so far. Basically, when your license expires, whatever version you're on is the version that you get. And if you wanted to upgrade to a newer version, you would have to start a support contract effectively. So it's somewhere in between perpetual and subscription. Um, and that absolutely made sense, continues to make sense, in fact. And that's absolutely the model that we're going with for Cortex for Sharewell and for Cortex for ServiceNow as well. But kind of starting today, we've been working on this a little bit over the last couple months, but effectively starting today, we'll actually have a few um, offerings that aren't just going to be uh, on-premise or self-hosted. Uh, Anything that we build in Cortex will be available to self-host. We're not going to stop you from doing that. But we're also going to offer a SaaS or hosted model for some of the products that we're coming out with in the near future, starting with our mail monitoring offering. And our mail monitoring offering is when incoming when email comes into your departmental mailbox, let's automate a process to occur when that email comes in. Maybe it's as simple as shipping it off to your ITSM platform of choice or your HRIS or another system. Maybe you want to do more with the email. You want to start an actual automated process. It can do that as well. And we're continuing to add features. It's continuing to be an extremely powerful platform. We're starting to use it internally to run our operations and automate a lot of what we do on a regular basis. Super powerful tool. There will be some demos coming out in the near future of the tool. But if you can't wait, I understand. We're more than happy to hop on a call with you and do a demo live and show you how some of the features can work for your specific organization. With that, we are adding the hosted model. We're in the process of building out that hosting infrastructure right now, and you'll have a choice. You can either run it yourself if you want to have control over your data, and some organizations have strict security processes where certain data has to stay within their network, and our self-hosted offering is perfect for that. If, on the other hand, you have primarily SaaS products and you want to keep things hosted in the cloud, or in the respective vendors' clouds, we can do that as well. That's what we're starting with today, um, and that works really well. It doesn't matter what systems you want to integrate with, as long as they're accessible from our cloud. Basically, if they're accessible to the public internet, we can access them as well. Um, and the integrations are the same as if you were running them in your own data center. Now, I did want to mention real quick, the ServiceNow offering. Um, I mentioned I kind of lumped it in with Cortex for Sharewell. Cortex for ServiceNow also is an archive solution, um, but we're not specifically being as hardline that it is solely a self-hosted offering. Um, we don't currently host it for anyone, but we're not opposed to it. Actually, we're not really opposed to hosting Cortex for Sharewell. If you really wanted us to host Cortex for Sharewell for you, we could certainly work that out. But primarily, both of those are a self-hosted offering. The intention is that you download them and run them in your own infrastructure. Now, of course, with this move to a in two models of hosting, two hosting models, where you could run Cortex Mail Monitoring yourself or Cortex Mail Monitoring in our cloud. Um, we are entering subscription territory. So with the SaaS model, it is going to be a subscription model. And you know, like all subscription models, you continue to pay for however long you want to use it. And at the end of that term, it goes away, right? Your data is your own, obviously, um, but it's, you're using our systems, so you pay for the time that you use our systems. Nothing crazy here. Nothing that you haven't seen from other vendors. This is the way typical SaaS products work. Of course, if you run it self-hosted, you get to run it for as long as you want. The model will be very similar to Cortex for Sharewell, Cortex for ServiceNow, where if you do continue to pay for support, you can continue to get upgrades, and obviously you can pick up the phone and call us and actually get like true tech support. But once if your license expires, you don't lose access to all of that data. Um, you just can't get access to the new versions and anything that does require us to get involved. There may be some other details. We're still in the process of figuring out exactly where that line is. Um, but we want to make the self-hosted model as easy as possible for you to use. So I just wanted to record this quick video sharing kind of our new foray into being a SaaS software provider, how that affected some of the things that we've done in the past, but reiterating that the things that have been self-hosted will continue to be self-hosted, um, and kind of talk a little bit about the licensing, because that has been a question. Most of the conversations that I have, um, you know, obviously licensing comes up. How much do I have to pay, and what do I get for that price? The reason I didn't mention pricing in this video specifically is because the internet is forever. Our prices haven't changed since we started offering Cortex, but that doesn't mean they will never change. They might get cheaper, they might get more expensive, they might change as our product offerings change and shift and get repackaged. Um, so I'm not going to include pricing in this video. If you want to know pricing, there's links down in the description below to schedule time with me, also to our website where you can book a demo. And in those calls, we can certainly talk about pricing, whatever it is at the time, whatever is right for your particular setup. That's another thing that comes into play. Depending on how you're setting things up, it may affect, resource allocation, and which may affect pricing as well. Um, Trust me, I'm not trying to gatekeep. I I feel like I have legitimate reason for not sharing pricing in this video. But we're more than happy to share that with you. Come talk to us. We'll share it with you. We're not trying to hide anything. This video is just not the right place to share that information. I also want to mention that if you have any questions at all about the products, and you want to talk to peers, other people who are using the products, or us, we have two ways to get in touch with us aside from just booking a demo. that are more community oriented. So we have a Discord community that is obviously 24/7. You can talk to anyone in the world who's using Cortex, us included. And we also have the Cortex users group, which is every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And you'll find links to both of those in the video description. And with that, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.